Hey everyone, I'm Tiffany Harlick, and I'm here to give you your spiritual astrology forecast for the Scorpios for 2024. So I have a Scorpio sun, moon, and 4 planets in the 12th house. So you're in good company with this Scorpio. If you are watching for other Scorpios, that's okay too. By way of a little introduction, again, I'm Tiffany Harlick. I practice in Austin, Texas. I've been studying astrology since 2000, so for over 20 years. I have a master's degree in health psychology. I have been trained and certified to teach yoga and psychic development and many other fun metaphysical things. And I love backyard beekeeping. So that's a little bit about me. And as we look at this spiritual forecast, what are we talking about with spiritual opportunities in 2024? For me, these are the opportunities we have to deepen our connection with the universe. This is our self-growth, our self-development. And of course, we all come from different belief systems, different walks of life. And so take what you like and leave the rest. I follow Western evolutionary astrology, so this presentation is done with that lens, and this is the outline. This is how we're going to go down. First, I'm going to give you your theme for the whole year right up front, Scorpios. I'm going to talk about the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction, how it affects you personally, then the eclipses, how they affect your sign, what's changing, what stays the same, the retrograde cycle, and then I'm going to look at your ruling planet month by month. Now, we know that Scorpio has both Mars and Pluto as ruling planets. We're going to use Mars for purposes of today's demonstration, okay? So how are we going to work with these energies? Well, Scorpio, your biggest spiritual opportunities in 2024 is regarding your intuition and your health. So developing your psychic senses, developing the power of the mind, and working on your health and vitality. That sounds really broad, but it needs to be broad because we're going to look at different pivotal moments throughout the year where this is going to illuminate your intuition, your psychic development, and your health, and this is going to unfold over time. You're also going to see how your physical health is related to every other aspect of your health this year. Your body is your temple. Your body is the area that you have to offer as devotion to your higher power. You can think about the tantrikas, the ancient yogis who used their bodies in yoga positions as a way of great devotion to really cleanse and clear and get in alignment with their soul's journey. So putting your health and vitality first this year. Maybe you want an accountability buddy. Maybe you want to join a psychic development circle. Maybe you want to have a class that enhances your intuition. These are some things opportunities you could be looking for throughout the year. Here are your mantras. I am a clear, concise channel for spiritual information. I trust as I improve my life, my relationships will also increase in quality. I enjoy the mysteries of life. Time is on my side. Okay, guys. So this Jupiter-Uranus conjunction happens in Taurus, which is in our 7th house of relationships. And so we're looking for the win-win opportunities. This conjunction happens in April 20th. And so we're really looking for those win-win opportunities earlier in the year. We're always looking for win-win opportunities, but here there's a more potent moment in the course of the year. Is really going to be in the first quarter here. Jupiter expands, Uranus quickens. It's very lightning bolt. It's very mass media. It's very mass sighting. It's very huge, pivotal change, and it's occurring in the area of your relationships, your significant others. So looking for growth, abundance, quick blessings. And so you want to be seeing relationships as opportunities to polish the mirror of the heart. I got that from Krishna Das, if anybody wants to go listen to his talks. Now, finding the yin and yang and the balance and the polarity, the masculine, the feminine, the polar opposites in things, this is also going to be as much of a theme as anything this first quarter of the year as this big, powerful transit rolls in. So eclipses for the Scorpio soul. This is going to go through our 12th, 6th, and 5th houses. So part of us is going to need to lighten up a little bit. Part of us is going to need to step up a little bit with our health. And part of us is going to really just need to be okay with the mysteries and be okay connecting with the unseen world, right? The 12th house representing the unseen world. Okay, now what's changing, guys? What's changing is Jupiter's moving from Taurus into Gemini. This will activate our 8th house of shared resources. So think about tech, think about apps you could develop or collaborate with other people. Pluto is going to be doing that dance from Capricorn into Aquarius, and that's a much bigger, broader, global thing to talk about. So yes, it'll be dancing into your 4th and 3rd houses here. As Pluto moves into Aquarius, Pluto is the great change maker, the great wrecking ball. And Aquarius is our communities and our collective consciousness. And so I think we're going to continue to see communities changing. You know, Aquarius is the future, very AI tech oriented. And so I think we'll see more tech in our neighborhoods. I have a lot of other opinions about that too. But I want you to consider an entrepreneurial side hustle or joint venture, right? 8th house stuff that includes a big information exchange, 3rd house stuff. And I want you to list out the topics and what would you focus on as sharing the monthly or quarterly content. This is just kind of a business daydream. You don't have to do anything with it. It doesn't have to have legs and go anywhere. It's just a bit of a daydream to get your mind thinking in this direction. What's staying the same here? Saturn and Neptune are going to stay in Pisces in our 5th house, right? And so this element of needing to lighten up a little bit, not needing to know everything, having fun, and taking on some childlike wonder, right? That's going to continue to be part of our journey here. The self-development opportunity is to create your spiritual healers list. So the North Node, that point that calls us forward, that helps us feel like we're here on a spiritual mission in our 6th house of health. Uranus will stay in Taurus in our 7th house of relationships here. So what is the spiritual healers list, and why am I saying that in terms of what stays the same and what should we have as an anchor here? Well, here, excuse me. Yeah, here is your spiritual healers list. So if you are down, feeling the tension of the year, feeling like your health is going down, this is what you want to be able to check back into. So I want you to have a list of all of your doctors, Western, Eastern, people that you check into with your wellness, your chiropractor, your Reiki master, your yoga teacher, your osteopath, whatever it is that you do. Include all of the spaces, some yoga studios you might want to explore this year, some make some playlists for a little personal dance party, list some counselors or therapists, or create your home remedies, right? Your home remedies list. This could include homeopathics. I went crazy on homeopathics last year, so I have a huge apothecary right now. They could include red light therapy. It can include anything that you want in terms of your spiritual healers toolkit. And this is going to really be helpful as you're looking at it right in the beginning of the year. You're going to add to it throughout the year. You're going to pick and choose like a la carte menu situation to help with your health throughout the year. As we look at the retrogrades for our Scorpio souls here, there's 3 in Mercury, 1 in Mars. The Mercury retrogrades go through your 6th house of health, our 10th and 11th house of career and network, and then our 2nd house of finances. And so I want you to use the retrograde cycle as an opportunity to kind of do your personal edits. And I want you to ask 5 friends what natural gifts and talents they see in you. And then do they resonate? Why or why not? Right? I'm always surprised when I ask my friends this question because they usually see something in me that I'm not able to see in myself. And so this strength finder exercise as you experience the retrogrades can be really beneficial activity for you. Now, as Mars retrogrades at the end of the year, this will go into our 9th and 10th house. And so really considering a career pivot and journaling through your midheaven placement. Your midheaven is the top of your chart, right? Like that 10th house edge. For me, it's in my midheaven is in Virgo. So it doesn't matter what I do. It doesn't matter what my soul purpose is or why I came here or what I'm teaching or what I'm talking about. What matters is how it rolls out. And how it rolls out is very Virgo oriented. So you can see that I like for things to be clean and neat and bullet point and deliver information and data in a way that's clear, concise, and accurate, and is helpful to people. Okay, so that's how you could begin to study your midheaven too. Now, your ruling planet is Mars, and so the self-development opportunities are going to be very similar to the Aries presentation because their ruling planet is Mars too. And so Mars is a primal motivating factor in helping you decide how you want to work with your personal energy, your own motivation. Mars is a warrior, right? Mars is ready to go to battle, ready to compete. And so what wars are you going to stop fighting within yourself this year? The spiritual opportunity is to stop fighting, to put down the weapons. You know, there's a beautiful hot spring in New Mexico where a lot of the ancient cultures used to gather, and it's a place where they would put down their weapons, where everyone was welcome to heal, and that there would be no fighting, and it was a total agreement. This is kind of the energy I want you to consider from an internal perspective, right? So fighting something is a form of accepting it or tolerating it, just being aware of that. Where are you aware? What are you aware of regarding self-seeking motives? And a friend of mine explained it like this. She said, the self-seeking motives are deals you make with other people without telling them about it. Okay, right? So this is when somebody's, another example would be like, okay, somebody pulls out in front of you in traffic, you know, and you taking it personally and getting mad at them, right? Instead of realizing that they didn't do that at you, you were just experiencing that moment, right? You can let the thoughts go, the vrittis, the fluctuations of the mind. So before we go into the Mars transits month by month, I just want to drop a little promo piece for my digital astrology calendar. It's $39, but you can get $10 off for $29 when you use the code STORMY2024 on my site. Make sure you have the link in the comments. The calendar has all of the planetary aspects, the lunations, the moon void, of course, periods, the retrogrades, the ingresses. It has all the astro data for 2024. This is the 7th year I've written it. It'll have a title with a little emoji. So right away you're like, okay, Sun square Jupiter, is that good or bad? Does it have a sun emoji or umbrella emoji? Do I lay low or do I go forward with some momentum? And then you click on it and it'll have a description. So it shows you, it'll teach you astrology all throughout the year, as much or as little as you want. So I appreciate you guys considering that. And as we move into January, I want to consider the numerology as a 9-month. It's all about integration, assimilation, bringing things together for the purpose of completion. What's coming full circle in January? It's hard to start a new year with that fresh energy when we still haven't dealt with the assimilation of all that happened last year. This might be a month when you're looking through the photo books and putting together all this stuff. Like maybe you didn't quite get it all done in December or November to wrap up the year. And for all of the signs, I'm suggesting that you make a vision board that integrates all aspects of yourself. And when we're doing healing work, all aspects of yourself, you could have left a piece of you behind in another past life. You could have left a piece of you behind in some trauma from this life. We want to pull all of that forward, that you're fully integrated, mind, body, spirit, one soul, one life, right here, right now, in this moment, lighting up your power sources, right? And you can do this visually by also just addressing different aspects of yourself and your soul that you want to make sure is all here and present and moving forward in 2024. Maybe there's a part of you that you want to explore and develop that you want to put in this vision board too. So this should be a playful, fun thing. You're going to have clarity and breakthrough here. Mars is going to be in Capricorn all month long. Capricorn, right? The sea goat. So we've got that side that's very ambitious and driven and forward thinking and long-term planning. And there's also that beautiful, intuitive, magical sea, under the sea side, right? Some of my favorite healers are Capricorns. And so Mars in this sign of ambition, but also healing, right, is going to help you with your own personal health quest to understand what practical resources you're going to need. Mars can be inflammatory. So if you're working with inflammation or if you're working with heat, for example, like heat in the liver will rise into the heart and rise into the mind and create obsessive thinking. This type of thing could be happening too. So knowing your spiritual healers list, like checking in with your acupuncturist, checking in with whoever it is that you're working with, can be very useful to know some of these little medical astrology tidbits too. Okay, the first half of January here, self-development and self-growth. Mars, which gives us action and drive and determination, is in an open door, positive, hands open, heart open, working relationship with Saturn, which gives us that practical ability to do things over time, one foot in front of the other, right? And then trine Jupiter, which is all about positive growth, forward momentum. So what structures do you want to set up for yourself for your health? We've also got this second half of January to look at. Now, let's see, there's a Mars-Mercury thing going on here in Capricorn. They're conjunct each other. And I know a lot of astrologers will say, oh, that's good because it's clarity. Things are clear. But sometimes when things are clear, it doesn't necessarily feel good. It doesn't always bring comfort. So just knowing that clarity is good, but there might be a breakthrough behind that that requires some courage. And if one of us is unhealed or upset or wounded, then all of us are. So the Ho'oponopono prayer can help with this fracturing, right? This fracturing of the tribe of humanity. If you haven't looked up the Ho'oponopono prayer before, there's a lot of really cool research behind it. I highly suggest you go research it. But the prayer goes like this: I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. And you can do this towards yourself when you have just not been your best version of yourself. You can do it towards other people, but it's actually an internal thing for yourself, right? So I'm sorry, other person. This is internal. I'm not telling them that. I'm sorry, other person. Please forgive me, other person. I've used your words against myself, right? Thank you, other person, for your presence in my life. I love you, other person, right? Okay, so by the end of the month, Mars is going to zing with Uranus. It's going to bring an aha moment, very Einstein, very quick, very much like, oh, you just woke up with a bright idea. It gives you a boost of energy. If you feel out of your spiritual practices, this is a time to fall back in. If you don't have any spiritual practices, this is a time to consider what those might be for you. For me, this is mostly yoga and meditation, having good music on, and doing something like with the candles or the essential oils to zhuzh up the energy with the smells. So I want you to be open to these waves of inspiration and ideas that are coming at the end of January. And that's going to ignite, of course, your inspiration here in February. February is a 1 month, and we tend to get blinders on because we need to focus. And that's good because we do need that special space that's just ours. However, we also need to be aware that we could be alienating ourselves or just being conscious to let other people in our lives know, like, hey, I might need some extra space because I've got to stay hyper focused on this activity. So again, the spiritual and self-care toolkit, checking in with that all throughout the year. Your journal prompt is, what does the Phoenix rising look like in your life story? So what is the Phoenix rising, and how have you walked through the ashes and stood up? How have you fallen down 7 times and stood up 8? Look for those places of your own life story and how that has played out, and it'll give you that trust and that faith that you're going to land on your feet. So the 1st through the 15th, a really great time to work with your psychic development. Now, yes, there are circles that you can practice, exercises you can do if you're working on your psychic development. If that's not for you, no worries. You just might be aware that you just know something, or you just sense something, or that your dreams are more accurate. We also have a little inflammatory action going on. So if you're finding that you're feeling inflamed, trying the cooling herbs, trying to stay hydrated and really grounded. Let's see. Mars is going to conjunct Pluto. So you're both of our ruling planets here, Mars and Pluto, right next to each other in the sky in Aquarius, the sign of networks and alliances and friends and the future, in our 4th house of home and family. So wrapping all of those themes together, right? What starts in your home, what starts in your community now is transformative. Wherever you're putting in the work, it is mutative. It is changing something. There can be radical healing quickly, instantly, miraculous healing. Heat might be involved. So think laser, sauna, stuff like this, or purging in some cases. So these are some things to consider here mid-February. Now in March moves into a 2-month. And so we've got this focus on relationships in a 2-month. And so the relationships aren't just me and my best friend, or me and my lover, or me and my family, or me and my pet. It's not necessarily just those type of relationships. It's that relationship with the one and the one, the me and the higher self, the physical and the unseen world, right? And these are the connecting the mind, body, spirit aspects. So some self-development activities, dance party, shake off the energy, right? Just get it out of your system. Some somatic therapy, creating a new playlist for some ritual music. Maybe you want to have a ritual playlist for the morning. I have one that's called the Altar of Love. And it's such a great way to get in the right mood first thing in the morning, to be of service, to be in devotion all day. And you might do a little audiobook or podcast on relationships and just get some different perspective, change it up. You don't have to like it. You don't have to go by it. It can just give you some other ideas. this first half of the month, Mars is going to sextile the North Node in Chiron. It's going to square Uranus. And so I know that when these planets are working together for you, not against you, that something's wanting to happen through you, that your mission is changing a little bit. And so I want to help you discover it together. Eckhart Tolle says, if action is required, you will no longer react from your conditioned mind, but you will respond to the situation out of your conscious presence. And in that state, your mind is free of concepts. So a motivation check-in, what's propelling you forward? What are you passionate about? What are you passionate about that you weren't before? You want to just be really careful towards that, I guess, that middle of the month. I think I have it marked here. Yeah. So March 9th, Mars is going to square Uranus, and that's when wires can get crossed. Things can get, if you're accident prone like me, you just want to go slow, play it safe, be careful, help the elderly, the kiddos, the pets in your life, make sure everybody's all right. And maybe you want to send some love to the people that are kind of like loose cannons in your life. Just surprise attack with a lot of love out there, right? Just metta, loving kindness in your heart, just expand it out. Love, shoot your love center out into the world, your love lights out into the world, and try to be that beacon of higher frequency energy, peace, joy, happiness. Okay, so Mars is going to move into Pisces towards the end of the month, and this helps us focus on Pisces, our spiritual development, our spiritual mission, right? Have you written a spiritual mission statement? This is something else you could do towards the end of March here. We get our first eclipse of the year at 5 degrees of Libra. So you could work with your astrologer and figure out where 5 degrees of Libra is activating your chart. Is it right on top of your moon? Is it opposite your Pluto? Is it doing something interesting that's worth knowing? This falls in our 12th house, Scorpios. So the 12th house is the house of prisons, the house of troubles, and also the house of redemption. And so this is where we find a peace with some of our soul's deepest work, some of the where we really grapple with some of the things that the bigger questions of life's meaning and why we're here. And so I want you to consider some of these questions. These are themes to embrace. I'll let you take a screenshot if these resonate. Great, journal through some of them. The 12th house, what messages am I getting through my physical body, emotional body, and my dreams? What unconscious themes are playing out that I'm now aware of, right? All right. So this is the third moon in a moon family sequence that started in September of 2022. So something that just started cooking, we were just barely aware of. Now you're getting more information about. There's a pivot, and this moon's mission will complete in December of 2024. So we'll find some closure with whatever is changing up right now, or whatever we're more aware of right now in terms of our 12th house. It's always funny to talk about the subconscious because you can't know what you don't know. You don't know what you don't know. But when you do know, it's like this moment of healing that occurs when you're bringing that subconscious conscious, when your awareness, right? The observer affects the experiment. So just keep asking questions, staying curious, staying patient, and letting information occur to you or unfold under divine right timing. In April, I'm suggesting a health reset for us, right? This is one of our big themes for the year. There's a book recommendation I have for you called Warrior of Light by Paulo Coelho. This is a cool book because you can flip through it, and any page is just this like nugget, this chunk of information. You don't have to read the whole thing. It's not chapters. It's just like, oh yeah, okay. It's like almost tarot, but not really, because it's Paulo Coelho, and it gives you this moment to just get a different perspective and take a deep breath in and a deep breath out, and just lighten up your day a little bit. I want you to revisit your spiritual healers list, and a journal prompt for you is, how do you define health? It's different for everybody. What determines your health and wellness for you? What are those factors for you? They're different for everybody, right? And if you don't know, you could also consider getting a human design reading or an astrology reading that helps you understand more about your digestion, the way you assimilate food and information, and get some more understanding about your own body's rhythms. So here in April, Mercury will retrograde all month long. It'll be in Aries, and that helps us find a part of ourself that we lost touch with. Again, this is in our 6th house of health. So the health reset is really, really strong here. The solar eclipse, also in Aries, right? Also in our 6th house. This is the eclipse that we're excited about because all of North America is going to be able to see it. The March, April, and October eclipses are on the same axis, so they're going to be the same vibe. So if you're like Tiffany, you're repeating yourself, it's because it's the same type of information that the universe is delivering for you, right? This is information that should illuminate some of the stuff that goes with the 6th and 12th house axis. So not just the physical body and the routine and the rhythms of our life, right? Not just the day-to-day pillars and things like this, but also that subconscious side. So the mind-body health connection, that if something's stuck in the auric field or the emotional field, that has a physical result, and vice versa, right? So are we ready to give up some habits that aren't healthy for us? Are we losing pleasure in things that we used to find pleasure in? Are there new rhythms that are going to support us, our soul's highest expression? Do we have any awareness around a lack of rules in our life, or a sense of doing right by ourselves when nobody's watching? These are some of the themes that you can play with. So feel free to take a screenshot. And know that what's happening now is a new moon family story that's unfolding over the next 2.5 years and will culminate in July of 2026. So get with your astrologer and look at where 19 degrees of Aries is in your chart and see if you can find some extra juicy information to go along with this eclipse. Just behind the eclipse, Mars and Saturn get together in the skies. Saturn likes to make a commitment, right? And Mars likes to do it now. And so there can be a couple of different ways this energy can unfold. There can be this drive and determination and stamina and this desire to recommit, but there can also be a falling away. There can be very knife-like energy, like there can be a very cutting away energy, and that can be helpful and useful sometimes. Mars shows us where to take action. Saturn shows us where to commit, right? And Pisces here shows us that there's a spiritual side, there's a spiritual purpose. And so that's why I'm thinking in April, you might want to consider renewing your spiritual vows and finding a new purpose. All right, the second half of April, there's definitely going to be a plot twist, so make some room for for growing opportunities, make some room for schedule changes, program your mind to be ready for some pleasant changes, some pleasant surprises, some positive spins. How much goodness and benevolence are you willing to receive? By the end of the month, your spiritual warrior is activated because Mars, our ruling planet, is right next to Neptune in the sky. I have Mars conjunct Neptune in my first house, right? And there's this element of having that spiritual vision, of being that spiritual leader, of really piercing the consciousness and bringing people forward, or doing active yoga. Mars and Neptune is also played out in my life with doing water skiing, doing water sports. There are a lot of presidents that have the Mars-Neptune placement. And so just knowing that this is helping activate your spiritual vision, and what you think about is growing in your life, and you're absolutely going to see it out in front of you on your People TV. Another theme that we might see in the media is about leaving cults, right? Walking away from certain spiritual teachers or practices or spiritual homes. This is going to be a time for you to do your spiritual push-ups. And by that, I mean just staying in the flow of your practices, whether that's like, you never know what you're practicing for. So you just keep practicing so that you can be strong whenever whatever hits, right? All right. In May, the numerology shifts into a 4-month. The 4 helps us get clean, organized, decluttered. It also calls us to be very strong, steady, still, and stable in a sea of emotions. And so the world's moving around, but you're going to be the surfer on the surfboard and just be strong, steady, calm. This is a great month to activate the higher mental faculties. And so a spiritual development activity could be to download a copy of one of the Silva method for mind control. I've seen them on Insight Timer. I've seen different ones on YouTube. There's ones you can pay for, there's free ones, and just see if you like it and put it to use if so. The great thing, Jose Silva was born in El Paso, Texas, and he one of the techniques, right? So you're closing your eyes, and there's different techniques for where you're moving your eyes while you're calling in this spiritual vision. It's a meditative process, but one of the tricks is that what you're visualizing for yourself has to lift other people up. It has to be good for the greater good. And so keep that in mind as you're using your spiritual vision this year. There again is spiritual vision, the 1st through the 15th, a little bit calmer the first half of May. And then the second half of May, a little bit more active. All right. And so we've got Mars next to the North Node in Chiron in Aries, right? In Aries. And so I want you to be aware of being brave, being vulnerable, working with that kind of big sister energy, like saying, hey, I've been there before. Let me take you under my wing. Let me help you walk this path. And let me show you how to get back into this world with hearts on fire. And the search for identity, the search for DIY. You don't have to hire an astrologer for that. You can become an astrologer. You don't need a psychic for that. You can develop your own intuitive faculties, right? This is the era of DIY healing with Chiron and Aries. And I've got a great article for you guys if you're interested in that. Mars is going to move into Aries at the end of the month. This helps us with clarity and decisions. However, it can also kind of stimulate some inflammatory attitudes and moods. So again, just being aware if your people aren't being super tolerant, then you're going to know why. You're going to have the secret sauce of astrology, right? This is a good time to remove all wishy-washy language from your texts, from your emails, from anything that you're doing with communicating with other people about your schedule. Wishy-washy language is things like probably, maybe, might. This is confusing, and the other person doesn't give them any clear path to work with. So just wait until you're clear, right? So removing wishy-washy language and removing self-centered language. So looking at your stuff, and does it say I 1,000 times? Does it say you, me, my 1,000 times? That can put people on the defensive. And so there can be some edits that you might want to incorporate into your life this season. Okay. So in June here, we've got a 5 month, and this 5 can expand, but it can also be very distracting. And so you can feel pulled in a couple of different places at once. You can feel pulled too thin. So being aware that June is going to be busy, busy, busy. And where do you really want to focus your energy? The 5 has that sense of freedom. Let me get out of here. I want to travel. I don't want to be held down. And this is your self-development journal prompt here. How free do you want to be? What do you want to be free from? What do you want to be free for? Expansion and contraction are natural states of human being. And what is the expanded version of you just know that you want to do with this precious human life, right? If you're honest with yourself, you'll know something. Okay, so Jupiter is going to trine Pluto here. This is about big leaps of faith, and this is about the Fool card going forward. This is a mission to be very expansive and transform your world around you. The 9th through the 20th, we've got your ruling planet going into Taurus and then squaring Pluto on the 11th. So there can be some stubborn energy. There can be some people trying to hang on to their power or onto their control. There can be this my way or the highway. And a prayer I offer for you guys is a serenity prayer. So God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference, right? Towards the end of the month, there's a lot more good chemistry and this overall good vibes, good mojo, blessings, and working with the big magic that came in earlier in the month. And like, how is that unfolding for you? How am I going to expand my love in June? Am I willing to write like a new personal mission statement? Am I willing to work with Mercury, Mars, and Venus together, right? I'm going to consider what's fueling me and my love, and that's going to be part of my manifestation magic here in June. Okay, for July, Scorpios, we've got a 6 month, which is one of my favorite numbers to work with. I always change my address numerology or my hotel room or whatever to a 6 because it's that nesting, comforting, calm, clean, Queen of Pentacles type vibe. And so your self-development activity, of course, revisit your self-care toolkit and look at get your journal out and write your go-to creature comforts that are also healthy for you. So am I willing to use them before I need them, right? Am I willing to set up the chiropractic appointment before I'm in utter pain? Am I willing to create the menu and have some items to pick from instead of waiting until I'm starving to death, right? Also for your Pinterest or your vision board, you can work with your house. You can just do like, okay, what is my perfect house? What is my perfect nest? What is my perfect bedroom? What is my perfect apartment? What is my perfect living situation? How do I want to feel when I'm at home, right? And this can be something you can play with here in July. The 1st through the 15th, Mars is going to sextile retrograde Saturn again. So this is a repeat from January energy. Mars and Saturn. Mars is muscle, Saturn is bone. So toning your body, weightlifting, things that help you like exert some physical energy will also clear the mind. This is activities that you could work with earlier in July. Chiropractic, dental work. Saturn rules bones and teeth too. Okay. Mars is going to conjunct Uranus in Taurus. Okay, so this is in our 7th house, Scorpios, and then it'll sextile Neptune. And as it sextiles Neptune, that's when the creative spirit strikes, that your muse has arrived. And the sun is going to sextile Mars. There's going to be a lot of energy here. You're going to want to change things up. So give yourself space to do things a couple of different ways. It's a practice, not a perfect, right? Mars is pushing us forward. Uranus gets us out of our own way. Taurus helps us go slowly and surely, but Uranus is like, no, I want to do it fast. And so there's this push-pull energy going on. So be aware if you're feeling overly stimulated, or if you're overdoing all of the things, overworking, oversleeping, overdoing anything. This is a call. This is an awareness around the extremes so that you can get back into that neutral place. Okay, Mars in Gemini. Now, just as a reflection, Mars was in Gemini from August of 2022 through March of 2023. So that was quite a long time, and we were all working with the themes of Mars, which has to do with that spiritual warrior, being at war, weapons. It's also rules blood and knives and things like this. Mars is the energy, the drive, the masculine, the piercing forward. And it was in Gemini, which has to do with not only information, but also our early childhood education, our grade school, our shoulders, our lungs, our hands. Those are all Gemini things. And so being aware of that, right? Gemini day trips, podcasts, thinking, learning, siblings. Look, I had it all listed there. And so working with this type of energy now can help us understand, again, that contrast, right? The dualities. Gemini has that ability to look at things from many different angles. So we just don't want to get stuck in analysis paralysis with it. We just want to give ourselves space and time to look at it from different angles. In August, we move into a 7-month. This is more spiritual soul quest type energy, reading Hafiz and Rumi upstairs. Your self-development activity is to do a strengths finder. And it says, revisit your journaling about the midheaven placement in your astrology chart. So let's find out why. The first 2 weeks of August, this is good energy. This drives you forward. One door closes, another one opens, okay? And here's why. We've got Mercury retrograde in Virgo, and this will pass through your 10th and 11th houses. And so this idea of career, midheaven, your reputation, how the world recognizes you, what gifts that you're giving, what the world needs from you, right? It's not so much as purpose as it is how your purpose unfolds. So that study of your midheaven and the study of your north node, even the study of your 6th house will help you understand putting all of those elements that the world needs from you together in bite-sized pieces, right? That you can really digest and understand and say, aha, now I can see where my core values aren't quite matching and where I could be in greater alignment with myself from a career pivot going on here in August. So at the end of August, Jupiter is going to square Saturn, and this is going to happen again in December. This square creates inner tension because Jupiter is our biggest dreams and our hopes and our areas where we know we can't fail. And Saturn is where we have this tension and restriction and responsibility and duty. And we need those hard lines in life. We need those structures. But when they're working in opposite forces, it can feel like bratty child, like I can't get what I want. It can feel like depressed Eeyore, like, oh, I've got to do the responsibilities of life. But here's the idea. When you're under that tension, when you're nervous, be of service. If you can get out of your head and into service for somebody else, that's going to be the antidote here. Okay. Oh yeah. And as Ram Dass says, we're all just walking each other home, right? Okay. So for our Scorpios in September, I want you to be on the lookout for some buried treasure. I want you to use the journal prompt here, learning to enjoy a range of pleasure. I want you to reflect on your joy factors, what brings you joy, intellectually, spiritually, physically, materialistically, consciously, lots of ranges of pleasure that we get to experience in this precious human body. Now, why would I be saying that? So September is an 8. So we've got the infinity cycles. What goes up must come down. There's 2 8s. It's that double rainbow, big energy, feeling all in, like you want to put everything on the table here. And you're going to be finding that buried treasure throughout this month. I do want to say that Mars squares Neptune and the nodes earlier on. So caution lights are coming on for you to go slow, safety first, be really mindful. People are healing out there and it can be kind of messy. But as we get to the why are we talking about pleasure and treasure, we've got this full moon eclipse in Pisces, and it's happening on September 18th in your 5th house. Okay, so eclipses here arouse a strong desire to understand your creative self-expression, right? Your creative self-expression. My personality sun in my human design chart is in the gate of creative self-expression, so I have a lot to learn there in that department, right? But this is an eclipse where we find our uniqueness in the world. It shows us what we might be using as blocks unknowingly, unconsciously. So if you've forgotten how to roar, if you've forgotten how to have fun, and if you have forgotten what it feels like to just really enjoy life, this is a juicy moment where this moon is going to say, hey, none of that stuff matters. Lighten up, have some fun. What do you need to learn or relearn with it in the context of your extended family, your friends, your social clubs, your associations, your groups, right? Are you overcoming some of your personal challenges having to do with children or parenting? Are you able to see yourself in a new light and remember that childlike wonder and innocence and hope that's deep inside of all of us, right? So let's see how that plays out for everybody. This eclipse is part of a moon family that started back in March of 2023 and will culminate in June of 2025. So get with your astrologer, look where 25 degrees of Pisces is in your chart, and then do some exploration, do some journaling around it. Does it hit your sun? Does it oppose your Mars? What does it do in your chart? And get some more tidbits of information. By the end of the month, Mars is going to trine Saturn. And it's like, okay, I understand clearly. I'm seeing things better. I'm able to move forward. So you're going to have that feeling of, okay, I'm building something that was made to last. And I've got my buried treasure. I've got my nugget. I've learned my lesson. And I'm graduating. I'm evolving. I'm moving forward here. Now, what we're moving forward into here with October being a 9-month, this is a revisit from January, that integration piece. And so you might want to revisit that integration vision board that you made in January. And you might want to be studying your psychic development. You might want to be connecting with the afterlife. You might want to understand more about the death and dying process. You might want to study Bardo. You might want to look at Lisa Williams' book, Survival of the Soul. There are some things that you're going to want to learn and understand more about the unseen world this month. And why? We've got a new moon eclipse in Libra in our 12th house, Scorpios. So the 12th house, again, that house of, I'm going to say buried treasure, but we already used that one. So the house of prisons, where we have the house of troubles that turns into the house of redemption if navigated wisely, right? It shows us our deepest soul's rhythm, our deepest soul's work, our lifetime after lifetime after lifetime that's been buried there. And so this new moon eclipse here, here are some offers and themes to embrace. You're welcome to take a screenshot here and journal through them. So you're riding the waves in October, and this new moon eclipse that starts now will culminate in December of 2026. And get with your astrologer and look at 10 degrees of Libra for where you might get more information in your chart. Right, what goes up must come down. And here we go, the first couple of weeks after the eclipse happens, right, there's probably some emotional fallout. There's probably some time that we need to recover and reorient and reintegrate all that we're learning. Again, the whole purpose is that the universe is showing us, like, hey, what really matters here? What really matters here? So I want you to allow room, space for grace in October. Definitely going to see a little plot twist at the end of the month with Mars sextile Uranus and trine Neptune. Your creativity will return. You're going to feel like going where the wind blows. You're going to feel like being spontaneous. You're going to feel like creating sacred spaces. And this is a good time to have that dance music playlist or your morning music playlist or whatever, like reworking some of the different elements of sound and smell and touch and hearing and the different things into your day, right? So playing with this gives you a little romantic escape, even in your own home. Okay, November. November is that 1 month, and so that month of focus again. This is a repeat from the February energy, where we need to stay focused on something, where we're coming up with a new identity, and we need to really be looking at ourselves and unplugged from other energy. So being careful to not totally alienate and to be clear with our friends and family and loved ones when we need personal time. The self-care activity here is, what does focus mean? And how can it help me with certain areas of life? And when faced with frustration or confusion, I want you to consider the open centers of the human design chart. All of the open centers in the human design chart have these reflective questions. So if you have an open head center, you might be asking yourself, does it matter? Does it concern me at this moment? If you have an open ajna, do I feel like I need to be certain about this? And on down the list. Am I trying to get attention? Am I trying to find love and direction? Am I trying to prove myself, right? We all get stuck in these, especially me with the open root. Am I in a hurry to be free of the pressure, right? But see if any of these relate or resonate, and journal through these in November so that you can see what you're not and what's not needed, so that you can see what you are and what is needed from you. Focus pocus for sure. Mercury trines Mars, Mars opposes Pluto, and then Mercury trines the north node in the sky. So this gives us that deep curiosity for the spiritual path, that deep curiosity for what's over there in the afterlife, the other world. I want you to be careful with what you put into your mind. So I am guilty as any other Scorpio of staying up late and watching true crime, and that is not the best thing to watch before you go to bed at night. So being on a mental diet, if your mind dips low and goes into obsessive thinking, you need to consider putting those thoughts on a shelf. The second you're aware that you're having some negative obsessive thinking, you have to switch the channel. You got to turn the music up, drink water, do some jumping jacks, change your mind, change the station. Okay, stay flexible. Plans are going to change. Mars is going to move into Leo. So that creative self-expression, Leo, the lion, the one that has that heart-centered leadership, just being you as you are makes an impact. Okay, your frequency is needed here on Earth. And so we want you to be the best version of yourself you can be, especially as your ruling planet is in Leo. Be the star of your own life, Scorpio. Let's see, Mercury retrograde, right? In Sag, in our second house of income. So this is a time when we can edit our budget, edit our finances, be really honest and clear with our income and expenses, and revisit some themes, pay some bills off. Stuff like this can be happening for us. All right, we made it to December. Some of us are going to be healing from burnout at this point. Some of us are going to want some quality time with our kindred spirits. For your journaling, am I willing to schedule more time off than I think I need? Am I just willing to? What would it feel like to have an open schedule? Your mantra, Scorpio, is downtime is not wasted time. Okay, sorry for the slide here. The numerology is actually here, so that's a 2-month in 8 years. So December is a relationship focus, right? That repeat from the numerology of March. And then Venus opposes Mars, and Mars retrogrades in Leo. So we were talking about this earlier in the presentation. This retrograde in Leo is going through our 9th and 10th house, how we believe about the world, our spiritual focus, our philosophy, our desire to connect with other cultures. And it's also in our 10th house of career and our give back, right? Our reputation, the way the world sees us, what the world needs from us, from our unique rhythm. So keeping this in mind as Mars retrogrades through Leo and Cancer. Now, at the end of the year, we've got that second kind of gong crash in the sky that is a repeat from the August 19th energy. So Jupiter is going to square Saturn here again, and it's that growing pains that Jupiter wants to go do and Saturn wants to stay home, and Jupiter wants to stay up late and Saturn wants to get in bed so we can get up early. And this push-pull, this duty and responsibility versus having it all and living it all. And I have an aunt that used to say, you know, when in doubt, do it all. That's a very Jupiter thing. She's Sag, right? And so this idea of having these growing pains and these conflicting energies is coming back up at the end of December. So it's worthwhile to revisit what was going on in August. What are you more aware of now? Now, you don't have to do anything or change anything. It's just an awareness experiment. Okay. Okay, so we made it. Thank you, Scorpio, for hanging in there with me. Again, I'm Tiffany Harlick. Here's some resources for you. There's some free stuff on my website, a beautiful workbook with the spiritual astrology activities. I've written an article, Decisions. I got to check this, fix the spelling on it. Decisions with my friends Leisha and April. Chiron and Aries, that DIY self-help article that I referenced. There's an article on Cazimis for my friend Sasha Boyle. You'll see opportunities to adopt a hive, join my astrology newsletter. I send out every Friday with little tidbits. You can work with me on one-on-one sessions. And then some outside resources I mentioned are listed there too. The Silva Method, the Heart Math Institute, The Inner Sky, a great book by Stephen Forrest for beginners or basic foundational astrology if you're interested in Western evolutionary stuff. Get the digital astrology calendar, try it out, $10 off, use the code Stormy 2024. I'd love to hear what you think about it. Or if you'd like to work with me in 2024, I offer free classes for my members, and I'm offering a way to be a certified spiritual astrologer at the Lisa Williams School for, yes, the Lisa Williams School, and you can find that at astrology.lisawilliams.com. So Scorpios, it has been my pleasure, honor, privilege to work with you, to bring up some themes for consideration. I know that you're going to be working on your intuition and your health all year long. And as you do that, as you improve the frequency from the inside, it's going to improve the alignment that you're going to experience with all of the things that you want. What you're wanting is wanting you, absolutely. So it's been my intention to deliver clear, concise, and accurate information. Let me know if you have any questions, and have a beautiful year, right? Namaste.